Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ted, and today I'm joined by,
Darkest Dave.
Nathan Nerdark.
and today we talk about the dangers of traversing the Underdark in this GM 911. Jump down in the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So we have a GM 911.
From Joseph, and you can get the full write up down below. But he wants to know his players are going into the Underdark, and he wants some help. How do you describe what it looks like? How often do I do encounters? Do I speed things up to kind of say that a lot of time is elapsing, or do I kind of do the day to day and see how they build tension?
Right, for travel. So there's a couple different ways you can do. Like when it comes to travel, you can actually do a combination of, kind of like zooming in and zooming out. Because you don't want to do like the tedious stuff and the boring stuff. You want to do the exciting stuff. So you could describe like close calls and things that's gone on over the past couple of weeks or days, and then you could zoom in for encounters. Now, I would recommend, if you really want to capture the feel that this is a dangerous place, this is a place of darkness and despair, you might want to also do random encounter tables. Now, they don't all have to be combat encounters, but you could definitely have things that come up. You could have hazards, obstacles, and monsters. And sometimes maybe those monsters aren't of the appropriate challenge rating, and they're going to have to run away.
So he wanted to know what kind of things, he'd wind up facing down there. And there's loads of Underdark monsters that you can really play around with. If you want to really get into the big stuff, that's where you're going to find aboleths. That's where you're going to find mind flayers and all the minions that they can wind up having. You can encounter myconids, you can encounter spiders, you can encounter drow, you can encounter Torgar.
It's a great place to put oozes and slimes and things like that as well.
Right. It might also be like, okay, you encounter these almost like they would seem like otherworldly civilizations where maybe they can't go into them. They have to skirt them or go around them, or they encounter patrols, of drow or an illithid. You probably wouldn't even actually encounter the illithid, right? So maybe you encounter like some other kinds of monsters like orcs or goblins or quaggoths or something like that. Something that's kind of familiar and not that spooky. But, after they defeat them and investigate the bodies, they find this like jelly-like substance or almost like a spider web of translucent or maybe a glowing fluorescent green glob on the back of their head, right? That the mind flayers are using to control their slaves. So you can kind of like foreshadow that, oh, this encounter was kind of bad, but what's doing this to them? Or if you're using on like a slightly more powerful monster, like a minotaur or a troll or something that the players would be kind of scared of on their own and go, oh, wait a minute, that thing just made this their minion.
It's always nice. Mind flayers are one of those things that, they can be a lot of fun. They can be a significant threat that you never actually have to have them encounter. So, like, if you can get them afraid enough of them so that they're forced to go in another direction, that can lead them to new and interesting places that they originally weren't intending to go.
Or if you encounter beholders, illithids, drow, dugar, all of these monsters take slaves. So they could actually lose and the game isn't over, right? Mm-hmm. Now the game has changed. It's different. They have to break free. Maybe maybe it creates a circumstance that some anomaly happens and they're able to break free of whatever's controlling them, and now they have to escape the lair. So that would definitely make them think, oh man, I'm really in a dangerous place if they've been captured and they have to figure out how to get out of there now.
Yeah, a few other ways you can make it seem like a dangerous place is if they're just traveling down even a well-pathed area in the Underdark, you're going to have things like terrain has changed because rocks have fallen and blocked passages, or every once in a while they might just hear a rock drop somewhere from deadfall, and that's kind of like a threat. You're like, well, when is a rock going to fall on my head? Or when is a section just going to cave in and I don't know when? And there's other times where you could have a difficult area to traverse where there might be a very tough path to go down, but it's a chasm or something that, if you were walking, if the characters can think, if I was just walking, I could have just died by falling off this ravine and not known anything about it if I had not been on the watchful and mindful.
Or there's other things like squeezing, right? Like there's maybe maybe the tunnel's narrow at a certain point, and it makes them vulnerable while they're trying to get through. So they either have to find another way around, or they have to succumb to this vulnerability and hope for the best. Describing the darkness and how impressive it is, especially for a surface race. After a while, it's really going to get on you. There are no light sources down here. What's even scary is when you actually come across the light source. What is it? You're going to see it from a ways off. Sound travels different underground. All these things are going to be factors, and you want to constantly try and remind the players of this, and also like if they're going to make camp or something along those lines, how prevalent and how visible it's going to be if they strike a campfire.
So, all of these things are great points. Using hazards that, even if it's something that they can obviously see, it can still be a challenge. These challenges can present in new and interesting ways. As Nate said, like things could collapse, in the tunnel, and okay, well now you have to find a new way around, or try and clear the passageway, which could be a challenge, or you might have the ability to do it. Well, what happens if the floor caves out beneath them or in front of them? Now they have to find a way across it. Do they build a bridge? Do they try and scale the walls? Things like that are going to be a challenge. Dave says that the sound travels weird. Well, every once in a while, if you want to build tension, you could have a sound effect that's echoed from maybe miles away, whatever it is that you want to do to build that tension. If the Underdark is so dangerous, how creepy would it be if there's a well-traveled area, but there's drow guards out there that they're killing the Duergar, and you just hear the screams? Okay, that would certainly weird me out and make me a little leery about continuing my treks. If I'm not hearing sounds of combat, I'm just hearing the death scream.
Yeah, these are things you could put on a random encounter table too. Like they don't necessarily have to be something like the screams in the distance, other sounds in the distance. A flash flood in a tunnel where you're at all of a sudden for who knows why. Just things like that where they're uncertain. They never know what's going to happen, where it's going to happen, or why it's going to happen.
So, and then in regards to describing it visually, it's going to be monotonous, and that's the thing that you want to drill into their heads. That while you're tunneling through dark, black and gray stone, the light's not going to travel very far. For anything that actually has dark vision, they're only going to see out to a certain limit. It's not like traveling on the surface. So all of your surface dwelling characters, they're going to really feel hampered and hamstrung, and really want to drive that home, especially if they're down there for weeks and months at a time, that it's like, I want to just see what's that way, and I can't.
Even if they have dark vision, though, they're only seeing in black and white. Their world will literally have no color unless they use a torch or a lantern or something like that. And there's other problems with that as well. That it's only considered dim light when you have dark vision. So it's going to make you less aware of your surroundings as well, and it'll be easier for things to ambush you.
Because you become a walking beacon of, hi, there's somebody here who's not supposed to be here, because everything else down there's got dark vision. What do you guys think about traveling in the Underdark? What are your best tips? Put those down in the comments below and help out Joseph. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Check us out over on Facebook.
You can also patronize us on Goodway over on Patreon.
So until next time, stay nerdy.